Discussed on Talkin Money with Jeff Tarbell is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no responsibility is assumed for inaccuracies. No statement made on this broadcast should be construed as a specific recommendation of a particular investment product. Views expressed are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of CBS Radio. Use only as directed.
Smiles, everyone. Smiles. And prepare yourself for...
Show me the money!
Ladies and gentlemen, the radio broadcast experience designed to keep your wallet in top condition. It's Talkin Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Talkin Money. Talkin Money. More money, more money, more money.
And now entering the studio, your guru for fiscal fitness, Jeff Tarbell.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning.
We are back, at least for a few minutes, and then the Japanese infomercials will start, and we'll be eating cookies for the rest of the hour. So we got to get it in and get her done.
That's right.
Kind of a quiet news week. Not really much happened this week, so
No.
I think we just have a cookie and sit back and enjoy yourself. I'll be happy to know, though, I am alive and well. See my my emergency man bracelet here for admittance into emergency last night.
This guy here.
And I'm here. And I kept it on today because, as my buddy Pete says, dude, you should wake up and just put a helmet and a mouthpiece on and to continue your day. So I will leave my my emergency band on here today as I wallow in my good health. I found out a short story, because on the 2-hour show we could go into this. We could make a whole hour out of this story. But anyway, in the shortened version, I woke up yesterday morning and there was... It looked like a thimble sticking out of my chest. It was about that size of the thimble, and it was blood. And I pushed on it and it went back down. I thought, that's unusual.
You think?
Yeah. So I continued on throughout my day, and then I noticed it was getting all black and blue, and it was like real sore right in this area, and it was like a knot in there. And I'm thinking, okay, this is like somewhere between your heart and your brain. And I didn't go through the entire medical school experience. I think I passed out in biology, and that was about as close as I got. And my wife looked at it and said, you probably should go have it checked out. And so, this is, of course, like everybody, you wait till all your doctors are gone. And so I'm like, well, my office is like right across the street from Kaiser. So I said, I'll drive over there. Now, I'm prepared. I am a lifelong Kaiser veteran. I know what it's like in emergency. So I went with the full Wall Street Journal, a full Powder magazine, and a business journal. I am prepared to sit and wait. And I walked in. It was Friday, like at 7 o'clock. I walk in, there was one person in the emergency room, and all I had to say, this is the key word. How can we help you, sir? Well, I've been having some chest pain. And I didn't even get the band on. The guy says, sit your ass in the chair. And he puts me and rolls me right in the back. And I mean, I didn't even get my magazine open yet. So they roll me in the back there, and the emergency room doctor says, we're going to pretend that you're having a heart attack, and we're going to work our way backwards. And that's what they do. We're going to pretend the worst. I'm okay. So do you feel it going down your chest? No. So she says, well, what the hell's the problem then? Well, so I showed her this thing right there, and I said, my wife's concerned that it's near my heart. She says, that's not where your heart is. It's
kind of more
your
in the
heart's
center.
under the chest. And she goes, that's your chest wall, and that is a blown, vein or something like that. I mean, you blew a vein out. She's basically it's gonna be a big bruise, you baby. And I think that maybe they thought it was my brother is an ER. Paramedics. He's in there all the time, so maybe they just thought I was him. Anyway, I was in and out at $170 for that little visit, and I said, for that, I'm keeping the damn bracelet.
Absolutely,
you're not taking this off. So that was my copay. It was $170 just to get in and out. So that was the sum test. That was not my nipple. It was above my nipple, below my throat. And there's our 530 back at it. Not even waiting. At least a little concern, like, it could have caused some nasty bruisage or something. I don't know. And anyway, I'm alive. I'm keeping the bracelet on just in case I go down.
$170 bracelet.
This is going.
Very nice.
This is like my Lance Armstrong bracelet. I'm
probably all that weightlifting you've been doing.
Well, it could be. She goes, I did go to the gym the other day. And she says, well, you might want to knock that crap off. I said, I'll give you another cookie. We'll be fine. So, hey, Chris, are you going to jump in on the 15 seconds? Because we only probably have about 4 minutes on today's show with all the... Chris is going to jump in. I skipped by you because of my health concerns, Chris. I apologize in advance.
Well, it's very important.
It was very important. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Now, I don't want to cast aspersions, but last week you weren't here, And the whole show went to hell. So I'm thinking.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds about right. So we're going to give you your 15 seconds of shame. Go right ahead.
Okay. If anyone paid attention to Facebook last Tuesday, I was kind of surprised that the next day the sun came up, the world was still spinning, and we went with our day the entire time.
You did.
Just to let everybody know, Barack Obama is not the greatest president of all time. He is neither the worst president of all time. We've had far worse than President Obama. So everyone just calm down. And I feel like a boxer fan. I get this a lot because I follow boxing. I know it and stuff like that. And when Manny Pacquiao comes to fight, everyone's a boxing fan. Everyone knows everything about boxing. I feel like that about the election. Once the presidential election is up, you're voting for Obama. You're an idiot. Here's why. Oh, you're voting for Romney. You're an idiot. Here's why. And it's like, well, you don't pay attention to anything. Who's your congressman? Who's your senator? Oh, you don't know that? Then you know nothing.
That's right. There you go. That's Chris Verlaud. You can email him at chris.verlaud at CBS Radio.
No, don't say that one.
You can get him there. Chris at facebook.com. Did you see that? There was one. I just caught part of the news last night after my emergency, after I was dismissed. I guess some girl in Tracy or somewhere said had some disparaging.
I heard about that.
Yeah. Lost her job, and Secret Service showed up.
Right.
And there is
she had mentioned the word assassination.
Is that what? Oh, that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
There was a where is the? I have it here somewhere. Somebody. Hold on a second.
We'll be right back. Jeff's going to feverishly page through his repertoire of information as he smiles and giggles.
I got it. So speaking of doing Facebook and tweets and things that you may come to regret, and those always happen when you're at the bar, like on your third drink, you're like, this is going to be great, and then you're next morning like, oh my god, I can't believe I did that.
I'm a dummy.
Yeah. So this there was a gentleman back in New York somewhere, and I think he was trying to. I don't know whether he was a Republican or Democrat or he was running against somebody. I don't know all the details, but he was trying to make Andrew Cuomo look bad. Just people back in New York. So he was tweeting all these false things. Wall Street's under 20 feet of water, and this guy is not doing anything. Just all these false tweets that turned out to be false. They went and arrested the guy. So in the state of New York, doing it's the same thing as going into a crowded room and saying the building's on fire. And they went back and arrested the guy for basically inciting panic when there wasn't any validity to what he was saying. So you do got to be careful about what you say, because now the whole world can see it, and it's not just you and your buddies that are reading it. If you're tweeting it, it gets retweeted, and
right.
So be careful what comes out your mouth.
Yes, sir.
And or what comes out of your iPhone and your smartphone, and you'll be in trouble. So I do have to clarify. So apparently last week, or maybe the last 2 weeks, I maybe have inadvertently offended a few people.
How's that different from any other week?
I don't know how it's any different. I'm like, I do this every week. Come on. And this wasn't even people in my own family. I mean, I'm actually getting out in the public now and really pissing everybody off.
Attaboy.
Which is my goal in life, is to get out. But anyway, I have mentioned some of my displeasure with the remodeling process, and it really what I was referring to was a lot of the companies that I've been dealing with, and the companies that I'm getting materials and supplies and things from. I just thought the service hasn't been so great. The actual people that have shown up to do the work in my house have been phenomenal. And so it turns out that one of the gentlemen who's doing all the tile and stone work in our house has some clients that listen to this show, and they may be considering using him for some work. And then they said to him, well, Jeff said the work sucked. and I didn't say the work sucked. I said some of the process of getting things to my house sucked. But the guys at AGS, that's A like Apple, G like Girl, S like Sam, AGS Tile and Stone, are flipping phenomenal. And they have done the tile and the granite work for us. So they don't supply the tile and the granite, and we had some troubles getting those materials to them. But once they got them in their hands, their work has been great. So if you are considering using AGS Tile and Stone, let me be clear that I was not referring to them. And that really has been the best part of our house, is the kind of the tile and the stone.
Yeah,
it's come out phenomenal. So they've done a great job, and their service has been on time, and everything's been great. So I hope that clarifies for you. The rest of you suckers working on my house, we'll still deal with. I'm not done yet, so I got to be careful. But anyway, the actual individuals that come out and do the work have been great. It's just that some of these big companies, it's just, even when they come out and measure themselves what they're doing and the stuff shows up wrong, it's like, how do you make a living? I mean, who knows? I'm probably the one-off type of a deal. I don't know. I said yesterday, I'm just going to go to Home Depot and buy the cheapest crap I can find, and it'll fit probably just great. I'll have to replace it in 3 years, but so what? And you go out and you think, I'm going to buy. This time I'm going to spend a little extra on those door handles because they're going to last forever. You know, they come in wrong. It's
an inch too long.
That's just right. We got to whittle the door down. Anyway, I hope that clears everything up. And I apologize if someone took that the wrong way. So, and if you take it the right way, I hope take it to heart. So we've got a couple of things. This was an interesting week. I had some of my Republican friends were on the cliff this week. They had to call me for some advice. And the one I got the most. The one call I got the most from people, and I got this on an email at jeff@jefftarbell.com. I got this last night. Jeff, why do you think Hollywood and rock stars always go Democrat? There's no right answer. This was a question that someone had posed to me for the show today. Why do you think there's so many of the Hollywood type and the rock stars were out for Obama and the Democrats? And before my wife owned a dance studio, my answer would have been, I just think that they feel guilty. Many of them feel guilty that they do so well, they make so much money that they feel like they didn't earn it. And they think that they feel like I'll just have to give back, or everybody else should give back, which is fine if that's their mentality. That was my thought before I got in. My wife owned a dance studio. Now I realize where most of your creative artists, musicians, dancers, those type of people, where they really come from, and I have a lot of admiration for, more than I ever did before, for people who make it, and more importantly for those that don't, because those are people that there's some section in their brain that makes them want to be an artist. And I don't care what you'd call art. I mean, painting or dancing or music or whatever. They will kill themselves to do what they love to do. And most of the ones that I came across, at least through the experience of the dance studio with my wife, was most of them didn't come from very, very good backgrounds in terms of financially, and they would ride a bus, do a motorcycle, skateboard. They'll do anything they can to get where they got to go at the all expense out of losing their jobs and doing else just to do that art. And so the few and the very, very few that really make it big, all we see is the end result, right? We see them driving, on TV, or they make all kinds of money and they've been real successful. And you say, how can someone who's a multimillionaire like that, be for these type of ideas? Well, the reality is many of them came from a background that was so poor or so hard to get where they got, that they just have, their mentality sticks with them no matter how much money they have. And I think that's what I've learned about some of that group. Sure. That may not be the right answer. It may not be why some of them do or don't, but I certainly have a different opinion of the people that have that artistic drive in them, because quite frankly, I don't have any artistic drive. I can't do a damn thing. I can't sing, dance, paint. I can barely talk.
Can't even wake up in the morning.
And I can barely get out of the ER room with my swollen nipple. So other than that, but that's my idea. And if you have a different idea why you think that the Hollywood types and the music types go for generally back the Democratic Party, I'd be interested to see what you think. You can text us if you'd like, 441140. Give us a call. A couple phone lines open today, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. We're going to jump into our first break. I did have some very interesting meetings this week. On Monday, so before the election, I'll give you an idea what Wall Street thought was going to happen before the election. Some interesting things to think about out of the Sandy hurricane, of some things we might think about in terms of natural disasters and other things as well. You want to do a quiz question?
Yeah, let's do it real quick.
Let's give away some Jim Boy's tacos, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text me at 441140. There's no wrong answer, unless you're answering the quiz question.
Speaking of Wall Street, so the online travel site Priceline is buying the rival Kayak.
I love Kayak.
For $40 a share.
Yeah. That doesn't sound too bad.
What's that total purchase price?
40 times 10, $400?
Yeah, you're off just a wee bit.
So what is Priceline? That's William Shatner. What's William Shatner going to pay for the Kayak?
Yes.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text me at 441140. My name's John Fodorero. He's Jeff Tarbell. We're going to be
right back, Jack.
1140, the Fan. Talkin' money.
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
I do not spend $1.8 billion a year on yoga pants and body waxing. It's about $1.5 billion.
Billion.
Yeah. Come on, give me a break. How you doing? Welcome back. This is Talkin' Money. John Fodorero, Jeff Tarbell. A couple phone lines open if you want to jump in today, 339-1140. You can text us if you want, 441140. We did get Doug got our quiz question right, which was that Kayak, which actually is my favorite site for looking for, I guess they do hotels probably too, but just for flights.
Right.
Because you can put in there what you want, and then it'll just signal emails update. Maybe they all do that now. Who knows? But how much did William Shatner pay for Kayak?
That'd be $1.8 billion with a B.
That's a lot of $40 bills. A lot of $40.
That is.
So there you go. That's a little news in the Wall Street. Speaking of Wall Street, I mentioned before the break. So Monday night, the election was Tuesday. Monday night, the financial planning group Westlake, Grail, and Glover, Colin Grails usually hosts here a lot when I'm gone. They hosted an event over there at the Marriott there at Sunrise and 50, and they brought in a gentleman named Colin Moore. He's the chief investment officer for Columbia Management, which is a big fund management group, and nice guy. He travels all over and does a lot of speaking, but really knows a lot of stuff. A lot. I mean, clearly in the hour he could talk, he could barely get started. But he did point out some interesting things. One was that so this was Monday night, and he said to predominantly Republican group, I'm guessing, that Wall Street had already penciled in a Obama victory on Monday night. So Wall Street already believed that that Obama would win. In fact, a lot of the Monday articles I had with me from the Wall Street Journal all predicted Obama would win, which then lays the question, okay, then why did the market tank out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? If everybody thought he was going to win on Monday, what happened on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? So that's an interesting discussion we can have. But I'll finish up with what Colin had to say. So this guy was very, very pragmatic about what has to happen, and I thought that his speech was great because I thought he was targeting it to an audience of primarily majority probably Republicans. A lot of people there were retirees or getting close to retirement, so it was an interesting group. So a couple of things I noted from his comments. Number one, basically, in just real simple terms, in the United States right now, we spend about $109 for every $100 we bring in. So we're going short about 9% every year. This doesn't sound like a lot. He believes, and Wall Street believes in general, that there is no way to solve that by not increasing taxes. There's just no way. There's no math that you can do that doesn't include getting some more income in, right? But here's the catch. He said, okay, fine. Let's make the assumption that we're going to raise taxes and do some of those things. We can get about $3 back from taxes. So it still leaves us 6% short. So he said, you can't. So for all you Republicans, you can't avoid a discussion about raising taxes. And for all of these who want to keep spending, you can never, ever. There isn't enough tax money to get in to get the other $6 back. So we're still $6 short. We're spending, basically 6% more than we have got to get our spending under control. And he made a very, very good example of this. For example, Japan in 1995. So was that 22 years ago? Is that right? Maybe my math right. 27 years ago. 1995. They were right about where we are now. They were spending about 100% of what they bring in. Today they're at 206%, upside down. They are spending 106% more than they make in Japan right now. So Colin's note was that if you think 9% doesn't add up fast, it just gobbles things up incredibly quick. And so what got me is that you can forget about me. I'm 46 years old, and I'm either going to make it or I'm not. And if I do, great, and if I don't, tough crap. But I'm looking now and saying, okay, so if you take the Japan example, 25 years later, they have buried their kids. And I look back and I say, so 20 years from now, and this was the number that Wall Street is using, we have 20 years left. We're not over the cliff yet, but damn it, we can hear the water running, and we know exactly what's coming at us. And I look now and I say, okay, 20 years from now, if we don't make some dramatic changes, 20 years from now, I have 3 girls that are 14, 14, and 16. That makes them 34, 34, and 36, right in the heart of when they're making money in there. And if you think your teenage kids hate you now, I can guarantee you that 20 years from now, they're going to bury your ass in the backyard because we will have buried them first 20 years from now. And there will be no way, at that point, there is no way out of it without seriously bankrupting the country. And a la Greece. So this was Monday night. So this was And what I think Wall Street had hoped for was, so Wall Street already predicted that Obama was going to win. What Wall Street wanted to see from America, I think, is what are you going to do with the rest of the stuff? Are you going to make a change? Are we going to make the Senate go a little bit more toward Republicans so that these two sides balance each other out a little bit? What are you going to do, America? Where do you want to be when you grow up? And I thought, for those of you who like Rush Limbaugh or hate Rush Limbaugh, I don't care. But he made a comment on Tuesday I thought was just perfect. He said it's almost impossible to vote against Santa Claus. And whoever is in the controlling seat is Santa Claus. It doesn't mean it was whoever is in the seat there is doling out free money, and you have to go vote against Santa Claus. And when I left Monday night, I said, you know what? It's going to be a very hard road to go tomorrow, because whoever says to themselves, boy, I'm gonna make life a little tougher on myself. I'm going to pay some more money, and I'm going to quit spending some money. I'm going to make things a little harder on myself. That doesn't happen.
Right.
It doesn't happen. Nobody ever votes for that. And so you look at what happened in the state of California and in the nation. For the most part, we voted to just keep going the dole-out route. And you can agree with me or disagree with me, but Wall Street feels that way. And Wall Street, so what happened on Wednesday was Wall Street said, man, we didn't fix anything. We spent $2 billion in radio in marketing on it, and we didn't get anywhere. We made no change. Right. And that didn't go over well with Wall Street, because they look around and they said, okay, we are.
It's got to happen here sooner or later. Something, as you said, Japan, Greece, we got issues.
It isn't going to happen. I mean, it's either going to be forced upon people, or it's going to be forced upon people, because they're obviously not, they're not going to vote. And I feel so bad for the first time. I think that maybe my kids will have some hurdle that they will not be able to get over. And I mean that whole age group. We may have really, they're not going to get Social Security, and they're going to be paying for stuff that they never ever got on a deal that they never made. And I think the resentment is going to be so huge down the road if we don't fix it. It scares me. It scares me. I thought some other points I thought were very interesting from this gentleman. Number one problem we've got in the United States is these white guys are living too long. I mean, our system was set up for average white male to live to about 75. We're living as average to 83, and then that's the average. That means people are living more than 83. Okay, guys, you need to start smoking and dying. You want to help your country out? Swallow a gun. Do something. Because you're living too long, and that's a huge number. So what's going to happen? They're going to push that retirement out. You're going to start to see it's not going to be 62. It's going to be 65, 68, maybe even 70.
Sure.
Yeah, as you go down the road. This was something I did not know, and I'm embarrassed to say I didn't know this, or I didn't commit it to heart. But the Simpson Bowles report was a report put together for the president. He requested the Simpson Bowles, so it's basically Simpson and Bowles, I think, are both senators. One's a Republican, one's a Democrat. They came up with a plan called the Simpson Bowles report. Said here's a plan that we both sides of the aisle agree on. This is what you got to do. The plan was flat out ignored because it's like, if we do that, everybody's gonna be mad at us. And both sides of the aisle came up with it too. So if you ever want to read something about how we should get ourselves out, a true bipartisan report, look it up. Simpson Bowles, Boyles. There's also one called the Gang of Six that did a report also. And they also did a study that said across the nation, as part of that report, would you pay more in taxes if 100% of your payment went to debt reduction? And it was across the board. I'm not going to say it was 100% yes, but it was overwhelmingly yes. We put in $1 if every single penny went to debt reduction. That came out of that report as well. So some interesting things. And here's the one I think that Republicans get blamed a lot for, and right or wrong. But the one thing that's going to save this country is where in Japan's biggest problem is there's no young Japanese kids. They just don't have kids. And in our country, we're having a lot fewer kids. But we have one big advantage that Japan doesn't have. You want to take a guess? We have immigration. And we need immigration. And we need immigration. Immigration means from all over the world, not just
running cross borders,
Hispanics coming on here. And immigration is going to be the number one key to who's going to keep working and building this economy, so you can retire and they can keep this country going. And we need immigrants. And California is used to that, but we have to come up with a way of getting more people in this country who want to be here legally and want to work, and that will be one key to helping us get out. So I thought it was great. The guy's name was Colin Moore, Chief Investment Officer at Columbia Management. So it was a very, and I'll be honest with you, I did not want to go. I was coming down with a cold. My house is not done, and I didn't want to go. For whatever reason, I drug my rear end there, and I learned a ton. And I don't know if you and those are hard things to go to, but if you can drag yourself to one of those events, you will learn so much. It's ridiculous about what's going on. Just a true money snapshot of things, not a political bent, just straight off the board. This is what the money world thinks of things. I think it was great. So we got to take a quick break. 339-1140. Getting lots of texts. I'll try to read these during the break and get back to you. We can text me if you'd like, 44-1140. Our number here in the studio, 339-1140. Got a couple phone lines open if you want to jump in. We'll take your calls today as well. We're giving away some Jim Boy's tacos. And just to be safe, to make sure that their product continues its consistency and expert. John and I, every week,
absolutely,
visit the Roseville Jim Boys. We're out there on the forefront of making sure things are good.
Making sure it's good every week.
John usually goes a little chicken and taco. I usually go a little ground beef, but we're making sure the product holds its own. So that's our commitment to you. What do you got on the quiz line there?
Well, you're talking about some different things. So the caption here is "Just shoot me," and I probably gave away everything, but that's okay. What is the number one best-selling video game of all time?
Pong.
Not quite.
Not quite. Not Pong.
And let's just say sales are upwards of 16 million units for about $1 billion plus.
Yeah, like the one game you said made $1 billion in like 2 weeks?
In 16 days.
16 days made $1 billion. Now, remember, a lot of these games have this. There's different versions of different games, so we have to get the
number one version.
The number one version. So if you know the answer, this is the number one video game of all time. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 44-1140. We're going to take a quick break. This is Talkin' Money. We have our phones are ringing there a little bit. 339-1140 if you want to jump in. You can text us at 44-1140. You can email me if you want, jeff@jefftarbell.com, although I'm not sure where my phone is anymore. It must be in my jacket there. We got to take a break. I need another cookie.
Yeah, if you want a cookie.
Yeah, we got fresh chocolate chip cookies if you want to come down. We'll be right back.
Talkin' Money!
And we're back to Talkin' Money. And here's Jeff Tarbell.
Right. We are back, Jack. The number one video game of all time, according to the Wall Street Journal report. I would have guessed one of the Wii games, but or like the whole Wii series. But what do I know?
Well, and Wii is not too bad at number 3, number 5 with Mario Kart Wii, and then number 6.
Well, it's okay. So combined, they're doing pretty well.
Yeah, they're doing very well.
But the number one is which?
That'd be Black Ops. Part of Call of Duty, but Black Ops is number 1. Number 2, Modern Warfare 3. And number 4, also Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Okay.
But Black Ops is killing it.
Black Ops is literally.
Literally.
And Matt had that correct. Good job, Matt. We'll send you to Jim Boy's Tacos. If you want to go out to the Roseville one, you'll probably run into John and I at some point in time during the week out there. So a couple. I'm gonna finish up with a couple more thoughts on the California election. But I wanted to bring up a couple of things that I thought were interesting this week. The Hurricane Sandy back east, which was, obviously a huge event, and there's a lot of things. Power's not back on and things too. But I thought the for me that when I had all the stuff I was reading, some things we can't do about it. If we have a natural disaster here or some sort of huge mass-sized casualty, however you want to call it, we can't run out and turn the power back on ourselves and do these different things. We can't make the waters recede and do all that too. But what you can do, and what a lot of people found back there that they didn't prepare for, they didn't have any cash.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
so what happened was all the power was shut down, all the banks were closed down, or those that were open. Just like the gasoline, there was rationing. There was also, you go to your ATM machine and it doesn't work, or there's no
electronics,
cash,
right?
or there's no cash in it. If it's working, the people took all the money out, and you don't think about that.
Can't use your credit card.
That's right. You get into a real, back to a real basic economy, which is, I'll sell you a gallon of milk or something, but I'm taking cash only right now. And I mean, how many of you have enough cash to get by 2 days?
Right.
I mean,
probably need 2 weeks
or a week or 2 weeks. I mean, I'll tell you right now, if you rob me, I'll be lucky. If I have $8 on me, that is a banner day for me.
If your daughter didn't take it out of your wallet, right?
If my daughter, I mean, I don't carry any cash. I don't store any cash. So I thought you start thinking about that, and that's a problem. I also saw that I was heard on the radio the other day. Some people were talking about, actually some of the radio people were talking about their own experience of trying to go and buy a gallon of milk that was the day before the storm was $1 or was $2, and the day after the storm was $20. And back in New York, also tweeting can get you arrested, but marking up the gallon of milk after a storm like that is also against the law. And what did they say? It was $100,000 per occurrence fine.
Wow.
So you sell a gallon of milk that was normally $3 and you sold it for $13 the day after the storm because there was a shortage. $100,000 per gallon of milk you sold if they convict you of doing that.
What's the law?
The law is
no free enterprise there.
I guess not. But the law is, I guess, gouging people during a whatever. But
wow,
at $100,000 a piece, you better get a lot for your milk there.
No doubt, your jacket way up.
I thought this was interesting because you don't think about these kind of things until you start remodeling and trying to do things to your house. But AT&T has decided they are going to end using copper wire phone systems. There are 76 million homes and businesses across the country that still use the old copper wire that runs in your house. They're eventually phasing all that out. They spent $14 billion over the last 3 years. They're going to start going all to kind of like a VoIP, voice over internet type of a system. So AT&T is going to get rid of all the copper wire eventually in their system, and 76 million people will be converted over to some other sort of internet-based or other type of system. So you won't have a little copper wire running around anymore. All those crackheads trying to steal it out of your wall. So AT&T is going to set the new pace. And I want to bring up this one because I forgot to mention this last week, and this has come up now 3 times in the last 2 weeks in my regular course of business during the week, and that is parents co-signing student loans. And this goes for co-signing anything, and it seems to me that it should be obvious, but apparently it's not. Keeping a roll of $10 in your front pocket, quarters, does not qualify as proper. I'm not even reading the Halo comment from the 530, but keeping a roll of quarters in your front pocket while does not qualify as making sure you're okay for the storm.
Moving on. If you are co-signing for your kids or your parents, and I don't know why this isn't blatantly obvious, but there's a huge article about it, and it comes up to me every week. I didn't know that if they didn't make their payments, it was going to affect my credit. When you co-sign for somebody, folks, whether it was yesterday or 10 years ago, and particularly if it's their student loans, and this is the one that's coming back on people now, is that a lot of parents co-sign for their student loans for their kids 10 years ago, and the kids have lost their job and aren't making the payments. That does affect your credit. The term. If you don't step up and pay it for them.
What does co-signing mean?
You're on the hook.
It means that the original borrower wasn't worthy of getting the loan, and you said, I'll help them be worthy to get the loan. And so you have to track those things back. I mean, co-signing is a very, very nice thing to do for somebody if you're willing to do it, but be aware, you better keep track of what's happening, because if they're not making the payments, the lender's going to look to you to make the payments. And I can't tell you how many people co-sign their kids' home loans or ask about it who don't know what that means. Is if the kid doesn't make the payment, we expect you to. What? Yeah. It doesn't mean we need a separate phone number to track down your son. We're asking for your income. So keep that in mind, and it should be blatantly obvious, but apparently it's not, because, and this is a sad story about this lady who's retired. Her daughter had $80,000 in student loans and just walked away from them all, and she paid them all back, but wiped out her entire retirement to pay back the student loans. So that was that's not a good story.
No,
not a good story. So
that's bad.
Be aware what you're. And I'm not saying you shouldn't co-sign for someone on a home. Just be aware what you're doing, or maybe you make the payment and have the kid make you the payment, so you make sure it gets made in there. So that wraps up that discussion. I do want to finish up a little bit on the state of California. There was a great article, opinion piece by Dan Walters in the Bee, and it was funny because it was exactly what I was thinking on Tuesday as I watched the election results come in. Because if you look at this map, which I'm holding in my left hand, and you look at the country, and I said the guy in the red lost, you would think I lost my mind. I mean, there's a few blue spots around the left side, there's a few spots around the right side, and a couple up top, and that's it. And the rest of it's all red. And the guy in the red lost, and he lost by a lot. And this wasn't like the Al Gore Bush thing where they were counting a couple chads, and I think didn't Gore win the popular vote and Bush won the Electoral College, and this, I mean, Romney lost.
Yes.
And I can tell you, Republicans, I blame you. You guys didn't even turn out and vote as many as you did for McCain. There was less Republican vote in 2012 than there was in 08. You only have yourselves to blame if you want to lay some blame. You didn't even get your own people to show up, let alone convince anybody else to vote for you. You didn't get your own people to show up out of bed. So you deserve that loss. That's all I had to say about to all of yous that didn't vote. But I thought I heard something on as they're running down all the politics I didn't know, and there are some states. There's a lot of things I don't know. Actually, most stuff I don't know. I do know those cookies are good, but other than that, I don't know much beyond that. But there are a few states that have elected to take their electoral votes, and they divide them up within the state. So amongst the Senate districts. So let's say, and I think maybe Connecticut was one of them. So let's say they had 7 electoral votes for their thing. They could divide them up by the different colleges, by the different communities, and so maybe 5 of them went to Obama, maybe 2 went to Romney. Oh, Maine and Nebraska. Thank you, Chris. So Maine and Nebraska.
What did I say about paying attention to elections, Jeff?
Dude, I'm with you. I'm one of the 99% that don't listen or read. So Maine and Nebraska, they split up their votes by the different Senate districts, which I think is awesome. And I was thinking, how do you do that? I mean, in California, you could almost divide a line right down the center, and the east would all vote red, and the left would all vote blue. And Dan Walters came out with a great article, and believe it or not, we started down that path. In fact, the legislature last year, the legislature and Governor Brown signed legislation adding California to the so-called National Popular Vote Compact, and that requires that 270 enough states with 270 electoral votes could say all of us are going to go this route. So if all the states got together and said we're going to go to the same thing that these 2 states have done, we could do that. Now, of course, now that the Democrats are in almost total control, I don't think Sacramento's going to want to do that right now. But when Gore lost, they were all for it. But I do think it would be, if you talk to anybody, even you talk to the Democrats in Sacramento that are in the legislature, they don't like California. There was little bodunk towns in Ohio with like 9 people on the street that got more attention than the entire state of California. That is embarrassing. I don't care who you vote for, what side you're on. That is embarrassing. We are the number 1 powerhouse in terms of electoral college votes, and they didn't even look at us. They don't even come here. If nothing else, make them come here and spend their money on our radio stations and TV. Make them drop some money in our community. Why do they just why does anybody get to just have our votes for I don't like that. Make them come here and fight for them. Make them come here and spend their money. And I think both sides of the aisle agree on it. So if you believe that that's the way to go, you should write your legislature and tell them you want the National Popular Vote Compact to continue forward. And I think that would be awesome. Just make them come here and fight for our votes. I don't know what your thoughts are. What are we getting? I'm getting all kinds of texts here other than the $10. I'm not reading that one either. So 530 must be on as many cookies as we are this morning. My last comment, and we'll finish up for the day. What do you got there?
Well, I wanted to bring up this Lyft program.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Wells Fargo is coming out with the Neighborhood Lyft Down Payment Assistance Program, and basically it's a $15,000 second that diminishes 20% each year for 5 years.
Kind of a silent second. But there's some rules there.
There's lots of rules. You still have to have your minimum down payment requirement of your own.
You can't use it for closing costs.
Can't use it for closing costs. You have household minimum income, medium income limitations.
But have you heard? What's funny is that I haven't heard much about it locally, but the thought what Wells was trying to do, and our company is approved to do it, I believe. But what the thought was is that they'll give you $15,000, and really what it's for is that, let's say you qualified for a $150,000 house, and you needed it to get to 160 or 165. The extra 15 grand will help you get to that higher price. You don't have to pay the money back if you stay there, and you don't have to qualify for the payment.
Right. So you can get a little more house, but the other challenge is it's only in the city of Sacramento, so that creates a challenge.
I mean, where do you even find a house in the city of Sacramento that would be in that price range? You can't find a house anywhere right now, which is so frustrating.
It's going to be tough. But I wanted to just bring it up that it is out there. There's not a lot of talk about it. Nobody quite knows all the details.
When's that seminar they're having?
The seminar is going to be the 16th and 17th of November, which will be next Friday and Saturday. I believe it's at the convention center. But they'll be giving information out. I think they'll be collecting a lot of names, a lot of first-time home buyer people. And there is an 8-hour class you have to take, lots of different rules and stipulations, but there is some money out there.
In the city of Sacramento.
In the city of
Sacramento. And probably some other cities around too. So, and that's called the LIFT, L-I-F-T?
Yes, L-I-F-T, okay. Neighborhood Lift.
Okay. My last comment, we got to take off for the day. So Prop 30 passed. Oh, I'm not going to be able to do this in 2 minutes. I can't do anything in 2 minutes.
I can eat a cookie in 20 seconds.
So Prop 30 passed. I'll talk about this some more next week. This is the one that disappointed me the most, and I guess I'll have to get into more. And it's not because I think that it either affects me or doesn't affect me. I guess if 60% of the people in California voted for it, I'll have to adopt it as my own marketing plan for my business. And basically, what my marketing plan will be is this: I can't afford to send my kids to college, so I want you to send them to college for me. Regardless of the fact that I bought a $4 million house, have 2 Ferraris, a yacht, and I spent all my other money other places, what I've done is I've isolated my debt to my kids now. I just stuck them out there in front of the crowd and said, look at them. They can't go to school because of you, because of me. And I want you to vote on sending my kids to college. I find that the fallacy that we don't have enough money for schools is a fallacy because we've allocated the money other places.
Sure.
And basically what the state legislator came and said is we ran out of money in our checkbook and we want you to give us another checkbook. And we hope we'll do better next time.
Right. And all these cases create a double-edged sword, you know.
And you look at the follow-up from some of the people that are in and around government saying, we got them on that one and that's just the start. We got more coming. And I look at some of my friends and people that I know that are small business people and people that we need in the state doing things, and I look at them and they're looking to go, and that scares me a little bit too. But we'll talk about that next week. Anyway, congratulations to if your candidate won, and that's not going to affect my life. I still got to cut the grass today. This is Talkin' Money. We'll see you next week, everybody. Be cool. Aloha.
Talkin' Money.